Hello everybody, welcome back to the James Allcott channel, an impromptu video on the channel. I woke up this morning and I was thinking about my beloved Queen's Park Rangers and I thought, hang on a minute, let's do an end of season review. So I'm going to casually chat through the team this season, the changes that happened and how we turned around what was a really scary season at one point. And actually when I started thinking about that, I thought about the one video that I've done on QPR this year. Like I don't do many videos on QPR, and the reason for that is because it is very close to me and I like almost like the privacy of like that being my thing, and I go to it and I enjoy it and I leave it there. But, you know, I did a video in January called My Problem. Look at me. Oh, poor Jamesy. My problem with QPR. But I'll be honest, at the time I felt apathetic to QPR, apathetic to the situation. Not apathetic to QPR. Apathetic to the fact that like I couldn't go and watch my team and it was hurting. So what I'm going to do in this video is I'm going to react to some of the clips from that video and we can talk about, review the season and what changed, because I had some thoughts on what was going wrong. I had thoughts on the manager. I had thoughts on what we needed to do to get us out of this situation. And I'll reveal, of course, the situation that we were in January. So if you want to go check out that video, that's fine. But I'm going to go through some of the big bits here. So let's get into it. First of all, let me reveal the situation that we were in that moment. After 22 games, we're 20th in the league. Derby County, who are starting to have a bit of a resurgence over the last few weeks, although they did just get pumped by Chorley. They are below us. They've been bottom of the league. Sheffield Wednesday, of course, have had a big points deduction as well, so that's been a big problem for them, but they are now starting to find their feet, but they are still a decent way off us. So at this moment in time, it was looking pretty scary. It was looking scary for the manager. It was getting to that point where, okay, do you roll the dice? Do you change it? We were 20th in the league. We couldn't score goals. We were really struggling with that in particular. And I think the big thing to look at here is look at the teams that are still down there or stayed down there, right? Sheffield Wednesday went down. Wycombe went down. Rotherham went down. Derby County just about survived. Nottingham Forest stayed down there pretty much. Birmingham City, same thing as well, right? And there we are, sandwiched in the middle of it. I'm so pleased and relieved to show you the table now. Ninth in the league. What a turnaround. So what was the problem with this team? Let's show you another clip of what was going wrong at that moment in time. The fullbacks aren't good enough. They're not getting on enough because they're not competent enough, and we're therefore just being kind of safe at the back. So we're kind of creating chances, but I don't think they're very great chances. And so we're just not clinical enough at all. Because in terms of shots per 90, we're in the top half of the league, which isn't too bad. But shots on target, right down there, that's the big problem. We need someone that's going to be really, really clinical for us. Because Lyndon Dykes, I like him. I love his work rate. But he feels like a completely spare part in this team. He needs someone with him. And so to have someone like Charlie Austin with him could be interesting. Has he got the pace, Charlie Austin, to be the kind of like the final man? Not sure, but I don't think he's really ever had that much pace. In this league, in the Championship, in any league really, it's about your forward players. And that's where we're hurting ourselves at the moment. So will we get relegated? I'm very nervous about it. If it continues on this path, then yes. But I don't think this squad is the squad that we will finish with come January. I think there'll be a couple more loan signings coming in. That's not something that we've done so far, but I think we will pull the trigger on that, and I hope that we'll be okay. And Warburton, I do like him. I don't think there are many smarter managers in the Football League, to be honest. I am wrong so often in life, and certainly in my football predictions, but I am so relieved to say that I kind of got it right with this one. I'm so relieved to say that, because if you look at where we were at, you know, looking at the shots not being on target, the fact that Lyndon Dykes had come with Charlie Austin, the thing that I was concerned about and I was confused about was how are you going to get both of these players in the same team? How are you going to play Austin and Lyndon Dykes together? And what I wasn't thinking about was the possibility of playing three at the back. And that is where, when we look at Mark Warburton and people, this is the thing with all managers, you know, generally now, to get a job, you've either got to have some really good experience or you've got to be a really smart person. And I mean, maybe I'm sure there's a long list of people that you go, these guys are idiots and I don't know how they're still getting jobs. But generally in football, smart football clubs are employing smart people. And Mark Warburton, I've always felt, is smart and calm and logical and reasonable. And yes, has principles, but I don't think that's a problem either. But what he saw in terms of playing three at the back and the players that we were able to bring in, working with Les and Lee Hughes, and probably more Les than anyone else, to bring in those players just to add that bit of leadership to this team has been an absolute masterstroke. And I really, really implore QPR fans, when we get to this same position again, because we're going to have to sell players, I'm sure, at some stage, remember that we've got it right on this occasion. We've seen what us as fans have seen, but at the same time, we're making sensible decisions. You know, let's have a look at where we are now when it comes to the shots on target, because by bringing in Charlie Austin, by bringing in Johansson, I didn't think we needed another midfielder, but he brought him in and he's been an absolute revelation. And the other thing I was talking about was the fullbacks. I didn't think our fullbacks were good enough. Anyone who's watched QPR recently, we'll get into it. But let's have a look at this. Here we go. So look, this is where we are now when it comes to shots in total. On shots in total back then, I think, we were in a good place then, right? So there we were for, that was shots per 90. We were in a good position at that point, right? Now, let's do shots per 90 again. So again, we're in that similar position. And then that drop off when it came to shots on target was pretty clear, right? Bang, right, as I said at the time. We dropped right down because we weren't making better chances because we didn't have enough bodies in the box. We changed that so much. Shots on target, still up there. You know, if you think, look, we were down here. And that is down to the recruitment and down to the management. Mark Warburton and his team changing the way that we played. The way that we played was, prior to that, generally was we were playing four at the back. I wonder if with the squad list it will show the different. No, it doesn't. But in the last match, this is how we play now, right? This is how we play. We play three at the back, and we play three in midfield. But they've got some room to kind of work into these spaces. But then we've got two bodies up front in the penalty area. And as soon as we changed that, first game against Luton, we had two bodies in the box. It wasn't Lyndon Dykes running all over the place and with no one else in the penalty area. Charlie Austin coming in and us changing our whole setup has been so smart. So smart. I can't give Warburton credit enough because I certainly didn't see it. I was like, well, we played four at the back. I wasn't thinking outside the box enough. And I was talking about how bad our fullbacks were. And you can't see it, it's behind my head. But Lee Wallace is like for anyone who knows a Football Manager, Lee Wallace was an utter joke for QPR. Like, we can go through the squad, but he was pointless. He was pointless. And yes, that was down to, injuries a lot of the time. But we found a system where we've got two fullbacks who aren't the best attacking fullbacks in the league. But by creating this system where you had three at the back, we also made Dickey and Barbet our two centre-backs. It allowed them to have a bit more security, a bit of security around them. It allowed Barbet to play on the left-hand side and use his strength, which was his passing. Dickey's really good on the ball as well, so he was able to do that as well. But with those two fullbacks, and in particular Lee Wallace has no pace, but he's quite tidy on the ball, and I think he's quite intelligent with his runs. And we saw that in the second half of the season because he's played on that left-hand side, and he's been absolutely brilliant. I just want to see the assists. I bet he's up there, surely. Lee Wallace was 3 assists in the second half of the season. I thought it was even more than that, to be honest. But both the fullbacks have done that. Todd Kane, the same on the other side. Kai's been able to come in. But these are okay players. But the fact of having those bodies in the box and understanding that we generally as a team were quite capable and careful with the ball, we were able to make those changes, get opportunities at times, not always dominate games of football. But we were able to change it up a little bit. And the change in fortunes has been absolutely astronomical. For us to win 15 of the last 24 games when we were in the position we were in is absolutely, it's just outrageous. And please remember this when it gets to October next year when we're on a run of not winning 6 games. Because what's going to happen this summer is that the players that we've brought in, some will stay, some will go. I think the one learning for Les and the guys is that let's use the loan market, because I think we're building a team and a squad and a club that builds and develops players. You can see that with the players that we've got in the team now. But the players that got brought in, Johansson scored 4 goals this season. I think he's our 3rd or 4th top scorer from midfield. He's been absolutely marvellous for us. That bit of leadership, captaincy, age, experience. Charlie Austin, Geordie Device, that spine of the team, strength. You know, all of those those things that we forget about. But again, I think Mark Warburton really sees the value in that. Previous seasons, we've seen it with Angel. We've seen it with Jeff Cameron. We've seen it with Mark Pugh. We're seeing it with Adoma as well, who's not played as many games as he would like to. You've got to have that sprinkling of experience to kind of go, it's okay, and guide through these younger, more inexperienced players. And that's what we've done this year. The spine got so much stronger with the loan moves that we made. And it was absolutely huge for us. You even saw, again, with this setup that we had, often we played Dominic Ball or Jeff Cameron or Sam Field, another good loanee that we were able to bring in the position of Chair, and you would play Chair a little bit further forward. It gave him more space. It gave him a backboard to use and then a player to play through balls too. Like, again, this 3-4-1-2 is not something that you see that much. You don't see that much of it. And Warburton deserves huge credit for it. Here's the last thing I wanted to show you from that video back in January. I understand most of the decisions that's being made. It's a young squad that's going to grow. We can sell that money. We can recycle it. And in 5 years' time, we might be looking at this squad where we've got by the skin of our teeth and go, well, we didn't really spend that much money and we survived during the pandemic. And now look at us. I just miss my team, man, and I miss going to games so much. So much. But we just got to hang in there. I totally stand by that. And I'm pleased that this is the thing we've got to do as QPR fans, is not get entitled. That is what happened when we went back into the Premier League the first time round. We got entitled. We forgot who we are. We know who we are. We're a conscious club that thinks about what it's doing and what it's putting out into the world, both on the pitch and off the pitch. And we've not got away with it this time. We've held our mettle, if you know what I mean. We've held ourselves together. And we've finished in a better position with, in terms of names, probably one of the worst squads we've had in the last, well, certainly since we dropped back into the Championship. In terms of names. Because there is now this conveyor belt that's happening. And because we haven't just turned away from it, we've stuck with it. We now have a better kind of reputation as a club that will excite young players. And again, that idea of some of the players that haven't worked, Macaulay Bonne hasn't worked as a signing. George Thomas hasn't played the minutes that you would have liked him to have played. There are going to be casualties or disappointments along the way. But we buy young, exciting players, be it from above our league or below our league, and we develop those players. And if we have to sell them, and so the likes of Senny Deng, one of my players of the season, so close between him and Rob Dickey. Rob Dickey, my player of the year, because I think he grew as it went on. But I think he grew because of the system that we played. It suited him so much better. You know, Ilias Chair now has played over 100 games. Clive Whittingham always talks about the fact that once you get to 150 games, then we really know who you are as a player because you've had that time to develop. So he will stay for another season. But if we get a great amount of money offered to us for these kind of players, we have to believe in the conveyor belt. And we are starting to create the conveyor belt. And that has been happening over the last 4 or 5 years. And the last thing I want to settle on is that I'm so pleased the season's over. I'm so happy it's over. Because it's not football without me being there. Me watching these games. And I've got to say as well, the media team at QPR, thank you. And what a great job you've done this year. You all deserve so much credit. I know Paul well, and he works so hard. It's insane. I did work experience with them like 15 years ago, whatever it was. I reported on the youth team when Raheem Sterling was there. So a long time ago when I was first trying to get into it all. And even then I remember thinking, wow, this guy works hard. So that media team, you've been able to bring the game to us. But unfortunately, we haven't been able to kind of connect with it the same way that we would want to. So for us to get out of this season without any huge damage, having spent quite a small amount, we might be in a situation this summer where some of the best players go. Deng might go. You never know. Someone might want Dickey. Someone might want Chair. But we've got the likes of Willock, who I think's got better as the season's gone on. Johansson, we might not be able to keep. Austin, we might not be able to keep. But I believe in what we've got here. And I said at the start of this season, I would take mid-table. Let's get through this year and let's move forward gently. That's what we're doing. I'm so pleased they held their nerve. And I really just hope that QPR fans continue to do the exact same, because I like this team. Again, I was just doing a podcast with Clive in the week, and that team that won the playoff final, yes, it was unbelievable. Yes, it was one of the greatest moments of my footballing fandom. But I didn't like that squad. Imagine if we could get into the playoffs and do something with a squad of players that we loved their intentions, believed in who they were, and could see their blood, sweat and tears for the club. Like, that would be really, really special. And that might take a little bit longer, but I'm not going anywhere, as ever. Come on, you R's. I'm Rangers till I die. Up the Super Hoops. Delighted. Great season. Congratulations to the players. Congratulations to the manager. Come on, you R's. Let's go again next year. Let's make some smart moves. And let's give it a go playing good football. And I cannot wait to get back to Loftus Road. I miss it. I miss it. And I'm gonna bawl my eyes out when I get there. And I can't wait. See you next time.